Thank you guys for having me. Has anybody seen the movie The Sound of Freedom yet? That's brought a lot of attention to the ICAC world. And ICAC stands for Internet Crimes Against Children. Another update that I want to share with you guys, and I'd first like to say Sheriff Buck apologizes for not being able to come today. He had planned on it, but he had a pressing matter in Raleigh, so I think he's rescheduled to come at a later time. But he did send his warm regards, and he trusts that I won't make him look bad, hopefully. So, ICAC stands for Internet Crimes Against Children. Okay, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. There's no simple solution. There's no easy fix. The United States of America, we no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you got to hate one another if you disagree, right? We're the #1 consumer for child pornography. Now, isn't that something we should be proud of? And so there's bigger problems that we can fix besides all this back and forth mess. And this is just one example. You know, you got drugs and all the other things, but we're talking about this. And the United States is the #1 consumer for child pornography and child sexual abuse material, which is very sad. So the Sheriff's Office has had an ICAC unit for several years. I was lucky to become a part of it several years ago. I'm also a dual sworn federal agent under Homeland Security investigations as a task force officer. The sheriff participates in those types of programs because with cyber crimes, jurisdictional boundaries, there really aren't any. And so that gives us the ability to not only pursue cases on the state side, but also on the federal side. And I'll give you some examples of where that's been very beneficial for us. So the sheriff wants to ensure that when we go after these criminals, we have the full resources that we can to attack these types of crimes. We work with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. They are the ICAC task force leader for our state. So we are also part of that task force. And exciting enough, you guys actually have one of your officers, Mr. Robertson, Tucker Robinson, who has just started with our task force helping out doing investigations because there are cases in Emerald Isle. The cases are everywhere. So, and we need good people to work them. And I'm very thankful to Chief Panzarella and you all for allowing him to come over. He's been a very good asset, and he's already helped put a child predator in jail just in the short time that he's been there. So thank you guys. That's kind of how the ICAC task force works. We have, specially trained detectives who investigate these crimes. This is not my full-time responsibility. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we don't have the manpower to commit one person to this task. So this is a collateral duty along with other major crimes. So the detectives that work this, just like with Tucker, he's a patrol officer here, and one of his collateral duties is to help out with this. So we make it work. But know that these crimes are sought after. We are chasing these criminals that want to participate in this type of behavior. And we're doing the best that we can. So types of sexual exploitation. Let's discuss some of those. And this is what we're going to go into is not every type, but these are the more prominent ones that we see. So online enticement, grooming, and solicitation, what that means. You can have somebody groomed or solicited for sexual behavior, specifically a child, on any platform that connects to the internet. Xbox, Discord, a cell phone, an iPod, a computer, obviously, a tablet, anything that connects to the internet, and they can share messaging or they can share files as a way that the child can be sexually exploited, okay? So keeping that in mind, it's not to scare you away from internet-based products. I mean, we're never going to get away from them. But just like you wouldn't let your child or grandchild go play in a neighborhood that you didn't know anybody without checking on them, you need to do the same thing when it comes to the internet. You need to search parental measures and different types of applications to help you monitor what they're doing on the internet, okay? Sextortion. So sextortion kind of happens, near or after the grooming process. And what that means is I'm chatting with somebody online. I'm chatting with David online, and I'm the predator, and David's a young child. And we start engaging in conversation of, why don't you send me a picture of your penis, or why don't you send me a picture of your breast? And he sends me that, and then I share like content with him, and then maybe I say, okay, well, thanks for doing that, David. I'm going to Amazon you some candy. I'm going to order some candy online and have it Amazon shipped to your house, or sodas, or whatever it may be. And that trend continues, right? So he's sharing stuff with me, then it escalates a little bit. All right, now I want a video of you masturbating, and send that to me. So then we work our way up, and we get to the point of, okay, David, I want to meet you at one of the parks in Emerald Isle. Well, now David doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Well, David, if you don't meet me at this park, I'm going to post all this stuff that you sent me online, and I'm going to send it to your parents. So then David comes to the park and meets me, and I snatch him, and he gets sex trafficked. That's why it's important on the front end to monitor what's going on, because that can happen very rapidly. Okay? It doesn't take a long time. And contrary to popular belief, when you send the picture, it's gone. We can't get it back. So make sure you're sharing that with your kids and grandkids. Likes on their photos and social networking from their peers. Facebook is a big one, I think, or Instagram. Everybody's seeking that instant gratification. From whether you're posting a picture of something you're wearing, something you did. And so if they're not getting that, they're looking for it in other avenues, and that may make them more applicable to be sextorted or groomed or enticed. If you want any of these resources, you can go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and they have these handouts that you can share. This is just a handout about sexting, which kind of goes hand in hand with sextortion. I send you this, you send me that, and then hopefully it doesn't escalate, but a lot of times it does. All right, another type of exploitation, and probably the biggest one we've seen, is child sexual abuse materials, or it's commonly referred to as child pornography. These are images that depict a child engaged in a sexual act, whether it be them masturbating themselves or they're being raped or sexually assaulted by somebody else. It can come in a variety of ways. It can be documents such as images, it can be videos. Now we're seeing, anime or this artificial intelligence stuff actually creating files that look just like children, but there's no live child. All right, so now we're having to legally address that, because it's still driving that demand, right? It's still creating that want to engage and to sexually exploit and abuse children, but it's always something. It's constantly changing. So this is probably the biggest type of sexual exploitation that we see and deal with. And when you see like the press releases, somebody's been arrested for third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, that is possessing child pornography or child sexual abuse materials. Second degree is one you might see a lot. That's distributing, so sending it to somebody or sharing it with somebody. And that's child sexual abuse materials, or commonly referred to as child pornography. It's much more than just images. A big pet peeve of mine is for somebody to say, well, they were just looking at the stuff. They weren't doing anything. If we stopped buying gas today, nobody else bought any more gas from anywhere, what would happen to the gas stations? So if we just stopped looking at it, what would happen to children getting abused sexually and sharing it and selling it? This is so profitable because if you traffic a child or you possess child pornography, you can sell that over and over and over and over. I mean, children can be raped 10, 15, 20 times a day, over and over and over, versus if I sell you a bag of heroin and you use it, it's gone. Well, you can come back to me and buy more, but that specific bag is gone. Well, I share an image with you, or I sell you a child, well, then you use that child, and then you sell it to her, and then she sells it, and it just continues. And that's why it's becoming so, or is so profitable. Okay? Carteret County numbers. Changes in the last 5 years. That is not a typo. Our cases have increased 900%. That's not a typo. So, 2017, 3 cases worked, 1 arrest. Now we're averaging, I just got 4 new cases yesterday. And it's growing each year because of technology. COVID, we saw a good spike after COVID. Well, a bad spike, but it went up after COVID. But we haven't seen the decline of that. It just keeps growing. So this is a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem. The only way we can help, and you guys can help us combat this problem, is to watch what your children or grandchildren are doing online. Okay? You have to monitor that behavior. You have to be intrusive on that cell phone. You have to be intrusive on that tablet. I can't do that for you. All right? Somebody brings me a cell phone and says, hey, I want you to look through this. This is my kid's phone. Well, I can't do that unless your kid says I can. Just because you own that cell phone, that kid has a privacy interest to it. And so now as a parent, you can do whatever you want to do. But law enforcement, and I'm not accusing you guys of this, I just say it at every time I speak. Law enforcement officers are not parents to your kids. We have our own kids that we're parents to. Parents still have to be parents. And so you can't utilize us to try and do things that parents and grandparents can do. All right, because we can't do it. And so ultimately, what I'm saying is you guys have to be the ones watching what they're doing online. You guys have to monitor that type of behavior. And if you see an issue, call somebody and say something. You can call the sheriff's office anytime. You can call, and I'll show you some ways to report towards the end, and talk with an ICAC detective. You guys have one right here in Emerald Isle with Tucker Robinson. You can talk with him. Call somebody. Okay? These are the big picture statistics from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or what we call NCMEC. So you ever go in Walmart and you see the missing kid posters on the wall? That's NCMEC. Okay? So in 2016, there were 262,500 some reported cases nationwide. By 2022, and I'm sorry, that number has more than doubled now, and it's probably higher than that. But that was from 2019 to 2021 where it more than doubled. 79% of the time from reporting in 2022, the offenders were seeking money, and they were not known by the child. More nationwide pictures. There's been 82 million reports that have been, so the way the reporting would work is, say I send David something on Facebook. Okay, well, Facebook under federal law, if they catch that, which they have people looking for that type of stuff, they then report whatever mechanism, if I send it by Facebook Messenger, however, they report my profile and that content to NCMEC. Okay, so then NCMEC does an investigation. They open up a report on it, and they document everything from the user account it came from, the date and time it was sent, what was sent. If they got a copy of the file from Facebook, they attach it to the report. What IP address was used to connect the account when it was sent. Once that's done, they send the report to whatever state, so for us it would be the SBI, is in charge of the ICAC task force for that state. Based off of the IP address, an IP address is just like a physical address in a way. It's linked to an account somewhere. So if you have, I think probably everybody has Spectrum, you have an IP address for your house. If I search that IP address, it's going to show me that that IP address is registered to this address, subscribed to this customer, and give me their name and information. So that's how they locate where the IP address comes from. comes from, or where it was being utilized from. And so they'll send that to the SBI, and then the SBI will send it to whatever. If it's in Carteret County, it would come to us. Craven, it would go to Craven, wherever it's located, okay? So that's how the reports happen. 82 million, 322 million images and videos were viewed by NCMEC. Only 19,000 victims have been identified from that. It's very hard to locate a child victim. It's extremely hard. I've been doing this several years now, and I've located the team, not me myself sole, but our team has located probably 3 to 4 live victims, which sounds great, but I mean, we're investigating this stuff every day, so it's very hard to locate live victims. We typically see, and what they're talking about here, boys are more likely to be more violently victimized than girls, but girls are more likely to be depicted in these files, younger girls. And when I'm talking about child porn, I'm not talking about age difficult categories. Breast development, obviously going through puberty, those can be investigated crimes, but what we're typically seeing is 1 to 9 and 10-year-old children. Like, there's no doubt that that's a child. So that's what we're typically dealing with. NCMEC has seen a 97% increase from 2019 to 2020, which is right in line with what everybody else is seeing. I mean, the numbers are continually going up. As they say in the movie The Sound of Freedom, which was based on a true story from a Homeland Security agent, it's already passed, child pornography and child sex trafficking has already passed the firearms trade, the arms trade, and is expected to surpass the drug trade in profit in the next couple of years. Some problems that we're seeing and things that you need to pay attention to when you're allowing your kids and grandkids to be online. There's a thing called end-to-end encryption. So anybody ever heard of WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and there's a bunch of them. I'm just going to use those 2 as an example. Those are end-to-end encrypted messaging services. So what that means is whatever I send to him and he sends to me, Facebook, WhatsApp, those platforms say they can't see it because it's end-to-end encryption. So what does that mean for us? Okay, so if they can't see it, they're not monitoring it. Remember, if I send him a Facebook message and it, before the end-to-end encryption started, and they picked up on it, they sent it to NCMEC, it got sent to us, as the investigation unfolds. But now if they're saying they can't monitor it and they can't see it, it's not going to get reported. All right? So those are things to pay attention to. Look into the platforms that your kids are using. And make sure, I'm not saying they can't be on Facebook, I'm not saying they can't be using WhatsApp. I mean, we use WhatsApp for legitimate purposes. You just have to monitor it. You have to keep an eye on it, okay? Obviously, the most used social media platforms, Facebook's still number 1. WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, Instagram, also owned by Facebook, or Meta platforms as they call themselves now, are still some of the top ones, okay? Where does it become dangerous for kids? When the apps are anonymous. If you're using applications online that don't require you to put an age in there, they don't require you to put a name in there. You can be whoever you want to be, whenever you want to be, however you want to be. That's when it becomes dangerous, because you don't know who you're talking to. And really on the internet it's dangerous anyway, because you can be anybody. But there are specific anonymous apps. There's a platform called Omegle, which is used a lot in the child porn world. Omegle is a file sharing system that you don't have to log into, you don't have to sign up for. You just, if you know how to get to the site, you go to the site and you share whatever you want to share. And so if you start seeing platforms like that, like you're looking at your kid's device and you see, oh, what's Omegle? I don't know. And you Google it and it says anonymous file sharing app or anonymous chat. that should be a red flag to you. Okay, you want to stay away from those. End-to-end encryption we've already talked about. Those are different things to pay attention to and to educate yourself on and learn what types of systems these applications are using that your children are participating with, whether it be gaming, like apps like Roblox or anything. Research them and figure out the best way to know exactly what your child is doing on those platforms. All right, so Calculator Vault is what we call hide apps. All right, so I can have pictures or whatever I want to in this vault, and if I have it open and you come walking by, like maybe I'm taking naked pictures of myself and I'm selling them to people online as a child because I've been solicited and groomed, and now I've got wrapped up in this web, and I'm doing it, and a child's brain is not developed the way ours is, so they're being continually exploited. All right, well now grandpa's walking by or mom's walking by, I switch it and it looks just like a calculator app. It functions just like a calculator. And you have no idea that those photos are on my phone, on my laptop, on my tablet, whatever. Okay? You can search for hidden apps or secret vaults and things like that, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. But there are, the reason I put this on there is because there are applications like that out there. Things you have to pay attention to. Snapchat. I like to share this one because you can have what's called a snap map. And it shows you where everybody, all your friends are located. Well, why is this important? Well, I'm chatting with a predator. I share my location with them on a snap map. Now they know where I live and they can come right to my house and pick me up. So, again, not trying to completely scare you away from the internet. I just want you to be informed of the types of things that are out there for your kids and grandkids. Things to pay attention to. Other platforms, we've talked about some of them, Roblox, Discord. It goes on and on. YouTube, I've had kids exploited over YouTube. Anything that connects to the internet that you can upload or share files through, children can be sexually exploited through. Okay? Digital currency. Why do we want to talk about digital currency? Well, you got Apple Pay, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. Is your kid starting to buy stuff and you don't know where the money's coming from? That'd be something to pay attention to. All right? Are they starting to get goods show up at the door and you don't know who's sending them? Oh, it's a friend. That should be a red flag. What are they doing to get this money? Okay? Because, and this happens. We see it in this county. Just worked a case like this a couple weeks ago. I'm sending you stuff online. What are you sending me? $10 a picture, $15 a picture, $20 a picture. And these kids have got thousands of dollars in digital currency sitting on these applications, and the parents had no idea. Maybe they're getting goods shipped to them, which is a little more up front because eventually mom and dad's going to be like, well, wait a minute, why do these Amazon packages keep coming? But digital currency, you may have no clue. Things to pay attention to when you're looking at these devices and when you're talking with your kids. Make sure you're checking this stuff out, okay? Parenting options. Different types of devices and applications, or not devices, applications to help monitor the devices. Bark is a good one. It is a fee-based service, but this is what the school system uses. You can set it up however you want to. I'm not a Bark expert. You can Google it, do your own research on it, and see if it's a platform that you like, but it allows you to look at screen time, see what applications they're using, put in specific keywords that you get alerted to if they're, somebody sends them a message and it says nude or sex or money or whatever. If those are your keywords, you would get an alert to your device that says, hey, whatever, this just happened via Facebook or however that would work. There are applications like that out there, so be aware. And you can go to Google and just type in parenting or monitoring applications for kids, and there's a bunch of them. So just research them. On an iPhone, and Androids are the same way. Watch out for the hidden files and the recently deleted files. So to go into these files, you need the passcode, or if you're using the bio stuff, you would need a shot of your face or a thumbprint or fingerprint if that's how you're getting into the phone. We see kids and predators hiding files in the hidden and recently deleted. So if you're looking through your child's phone, don't just assume nothing's in there. Make them show you. Okay? How to find secret apps. Just go to the App Store and type secret or vault or calculator vault, photo vault, any type of secret application. All right, if it has open on it, if you see this beside the application, that means that the child has it on the device. If you see get, that means that they haven't downloaded it. It's not on that device. If you see this little cloud with the arrow, it means it was downloaded on the device, but it's currently not. So they've removed it. So remember that. Here's an example. Open, open, open. All three of these applications are on that device. The dating app, it says get. It's never been downloaded. The Walmart app was downloaded, but it was deleted off there at some point. So it's telling you can re-download it. Okay? Apple monitoring. You can go to screen time and break down, go to settings, screen time, and it'll show you exactly how much time your children are spending on the phone. You can break it down even further to go into the specific applications, and it'll tell you how much time they're using the applications per week, per day, whatever you want to look for on those devices. So that's another good way to monitor what's going on. Okay? Apps to keep kids safe. Some other apps, Life 360, which is a GPS application that monitors where your child is, where they're going. There's different screening apps to allow you to mirror what your child's doing on their phone through your phone or device. Like I said before, research that stuff. There's a bunch of different applications out there to help you monitor. Some are fee-based. Others may not be. You just have to do your research and figure out which application you think is best for your family. Text resources. Urban Dictionary. You ever seen your kid sending a bunch of text message emojis in a line or using slang terms? You can go to Urban Dictionary or Google and try to figure out what that means. Okay? Kids are constantly changing stuff to try and throw off their parents, teachers, adults. So if you're not sure of what type of slang term is being used, Google it. Use Urban Dictionary. Somebody's put it on the internet and you'll be able to find out. All right. Main tips to keep kids safe is monitor their internet usage on the devices. Make sure you're checking them. Know what platforms they're using. Know who your kids are talking to or gaming with online. All right. Talk with them about the dangers of the internet. Use applications that you see fit to help monitor what your kid's doing online. Educate yourself to the trends of what the kids are doing, what games they're playing, and what apps that they're using. Be careful of foreign apps. For example, if your kid says, hey, I want to use this application and it's created and managed out of Singapore. Be careful for that, because if they are exploited on that application, Singapore may not grant a United States search warrant. So that means that I really can't do much for you. If it's managed in Singapore, in a country that does not agree to keep all the legal out of it, that does not work with us on those platforms, there's not a whole lot we can do. Okay, so just be aware of that. Canadian platforms, stuff like that, we play ball with them a lot. European countries, most of the time play ball with them a lot. But just be careful about using foreign apps. And don't be afraid to ask questions or to limit internet usage. Even when I was growing up, the internet, we still had dial-up. We weren't on the internet every day. I didn't die. I'm sure you guys didn't use the internet every day. We made it. So don't be afraid to limit it.
You can add something to that. I used to work in a high school computer lab. Don't let your kids go sit in their bedrooms with their laptops while they're doing their work.
Absolutely. Well, that's monitoring what they're doing, right?
Be out there and tell them it's just not. My kids, it was sitting in the middle of my living room.
There you go. That's a good parenting step. But take it down initiative. So if your kid sends something online, so they send me a nude on Facebook, all right, and you report it to law enforcement. You can also, and law enforcement can work with you through this, but you can also report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's called the Take It Down Initiative. It only works for participating services, and those services are Facebook, Pornhub, which is a adult pornographic website, Clip Sales, which is pornographic or can be, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and OnlyFans, and there's a few more. But what they do is they take essentially a digital fingerprint from that file and they scrub their servers, and if they find it, they delete it. It doesn't delete it completely off the internet. It doesn't change if somebody copied it and posted it on another platform, but it does help try to combat some of these types of events. But the Take It Down initiative is there. If you want further information on that, you can. I highly recommend you go to just Google National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There's a lot of data up there about this stuff. Okay. Also, be careful what you're sharing online. How many times you see on Facebook stuff like that? People are putting first job, those types of things. You're giving away a lot of information about yourself that could potentially be used to hack into your account or to find out more about what you are. Do you have kids? Am I interested in the age group kids that you have? Where do you live? Where do they go to school? Those types of things. Not trying to scare you to death, but just be aware of what you're sharing, okay? This is another good example. We have a small dog. This is where we live. This is where my kid goes to school. My spouse is away a lot because he works on an oil field. You know what I mean? Just be careful. Just be careful. Expectation of privacy for children. I've already talked a little bit about that. I can't come to your house and go in your kid's bedroom just because you tell me I can. That kid has an expectation of privacy in that bedroom, and the Fourth Amendment of our Constitution says so. So I can't just barge in there without their permission or a search warrant. Same thing with their cell phone. Same thing with their computer. You as a parent, it's a different story. But law enforcement, that's where I was saying before, law enforcement can't do what parents can do. Parents have to be the parent. Okay, yes ma'am.
Is there a situation where a parent could provide you with information that would allow you to possibly obtain a search warrant or get permission to go into their room?
Absolutely. As long as you're not acting as my agent, okay, I go to your, and I'm going to explain what I'm saying. I go to your house and you say, oh, well, to keep it short, yes. If you're monitoring what your child is doing and you report it to me that you saw something on the phone, okay, and you took the phone, I want to give this to you because I saw this on there. Yes, I can use that information to get a search warrant to go into that phone. Yes. How to report. All right. The quickest way is to call 726-1911, which is the county dispatch system that covers every law enforcement, fire department, EMS agency in the county. And you can just ask to speak to your local police or sheriff's office. Okay. If you live outside of the county, you can call whatever county dispatch center you work in. You can also report to NCMEC directly by calling 1-800-THE-LOST or going to report.cybertip.org. However, there's a delay because once you report it, they have to investigate it, then they have to send it to whatever state it is, and they do a little investigation, and then it gets sent to us. Okay, so sometimes the reports I got yesterday were from September, so there is a little bit of delay. Okay, obviously, if it's a life-threatening emergency, call 911. Any questions that you have on ICAC stuff, or if you think your child's being exploited, call your local law enforcement agency, call the sheriff's office here and ask to speak to an ICAC investigator. We'll be more than happy to talk with you. It's a lot easier to talk with you on the front end than to have to come to you and say, hey, I got these files, or to have to sit down with you in an empty bedroom trying to figure out where that kid is. Okay?